Day 5 of Apex training today is max velocity with total body strength. Hopefully I'll get some redemption from Monday on my 10-yard fly with a 5-yard build-in. Today we got a 10-yard build-in to a 10-yard fly. Hopefully get those numbers a lot lower. My legs are a little bit cooked because it is our last day of our college match fit, and we did 11v11s on the soccer field, and I was able to play in that. However, I am not as fit as I used to be in college, and soccer is a lot of running. Especially, I did play center back. I'm not a center back, did not play center back, but a lot of sprints and beyond. So it was a great session. However, legs are feeling a little bit. Hopefully, I'll be able to rally and we'll get some good times. All right, for these, the cue was full foot hitting the ground. So we'll see how that kind of goes, because a natural reaction for a lot of kids is just to hit from like our midfoot to toe, which is good for sprinting, right? However, I don't know why he made it the full contact, Joe Padula, but that was the cue, and we're gonna see how this goes. All right, we're up on the track. It's nice and hot in here. We got 30-yard buildups to start. This is gonna be 90 to 95%, so I'm working a little bit on relaxation. I also might work on another cue based on how I feel, but let's get into these buildups. I've been really liking Joe Padula's programs. One thing I did notice though, like, especially with this max velocity, there is not that much of a warm-up. We're kind of getting straight into the point, right? We did some hops, we're straight into some tempos, and we're gonna hit some fly 10s. Obviously, it's only a 10-yard build-in, so the stimulus is not gonna be as much, but I kind of like that. I kind of like let's get right into it. I see some athletes where I'm like, I do 15, 20 minute, warm up with like a thread and a theme on it, and we're doing all these things, and then by the time they do the fly 10, they've already accumulated all this fatigue, and they get into their fly 10, they're not going as fast. And then I do something like a really quick, maybe constraint sprint, and like literally 2 to 3 minute warm up, and then they're right into it, and they're PRing, right? So there's something to it where it's like, all right, let's get the minimal dose, and like let's rip the fly 10s. And then there's also a point where it's like, all right, let's work on form, mechanics, maybe getting ready for a season, right? We need to cure that, the fatigue, and so maybe a longer warm-up is needed. So it's interesting, like balancing those two things, but also having that in the repertoire of like, let's do a long warm-up, or, maybe let's get right into it. So knowing your athlete as well helps a lot for that. All right, second build-up. All right, into our fly 10s. Those buildups, something in my patella tendon and like the back of my knee kind of hurts. So I don't know what's up with that, but we'll get into these fly 10s, we'll look at the form, and then we'll go from there. The lift today is going to be super simple. We got trap bar deadlift, we got contralateral landmine push press, and then we got ham curls. I'm just going to go single leg banded since I don't have one of those machines. And this goes back to Joe Padula's programming, right? Like keep the basics and keep the main thing, right? And for this lifting, it's our compound lift, right? Trap bar deadlift. So it's going to have its own block. And a lot of the program that I've done for myself, it's like, how much can I do in 45 minutes? How much can I do in an hour? And so I would quad set things, and I'll do a lot of supersets, which is good for accessories, but it's very interesting. Like with the main lifts, make it the main lift, make it its one block, and like put all your focus onto that. So we got the OVR, we're gonna be tracking velocity as well, and then yeah, just gonna have fun with this.